Before we get started, I want to introduce Ms. Karen Middleton, your council member. She wants to address the room.
Hi, everybody. So usually I stay through the whole meeting. Tonight I actually have another meeting with an HOA that I need to go to, but there are a number of outstanding questions. So what generally happens is DART goes through this process from the very beginning. It's a 26-mile project, blah, blah, blah. And so I can't stay till we get to the questions. So I want you to know what my questions are so that they will answer them, or you can ask them. So the first one is, obviously you know Hillcrest got opened up today, but the question is, when will the traffic signal at Hillcrest and McCamey and at Hillcrest and McCallum become red, yellow, green, right, from the red flashing? So we want to know when that happens. The second is there's street lights that have been put in the median on Hillcrest between McCallum and Westerway, and they're not new. And so the question is, when will those be replaced with new traffic, street lights, since we don't want them falling down because they look very rusted? The third question is about the quick schedule. So now that we have one lane on Hillcrest, first, when will the whole part of Hillcrest be finished? But also, how's it looking on Coit Road? I don't know if you've seen all that material that's been added. And then we've had our first instance of graffiti along the line. And so we've had many meetings, you were not with DART then, where they assured us that these would all be remediated, but there isn't a process in place. So what we need to know is, who are we contacting? What is the response? So in the city, if you put in a service request for graffiti, it will generally be taken care of that day or the next day. Previously, DART has said that would be the same scenario and that their trucks will actually carry the color of paint that we selected for all of our wall. So we need to know where to call in or email in and when we can expect a response. So those are the items that I have. I know some of you have some additional items. I see some folks from University Place, and obviously that entrance at Sugarcane is wild now that material's there, so I hope you're going to ask about that. But please do ask the question. And then Deborah Stogie is here. She is our Assistant City Manager over Public Works and Transportation and probably some other stuff. I don't know what. But she's going to give me the report on the answers. Okay, so thank you for being here and thank you for continuing to be engaged in this issue. It's been a lot of years. All right, thanks. I'll take it.
Thank you, Ms. Mendelson. Quick rundown. So we have a meeting agenda. The way we'll get going is do a quick welcome. My name is Mario Zawal. I'm the Project Communications Manager. I'll introduce a couple of folks to you as well. We're going to go over the rules of engagement for the meeting.
Your voice is a little soft tonight. Can you?
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So my name is Mario Zavala. I'm the Project Communications Manager here on the Silver Line Project for DART. We're going to get going, so I'm going to do introductions to a few folks that are going to help me out on the Silver Line team with the presentation. We're going to go over the rules of engagement. We're going to cover overview of the project, some milestones, particularly to the City of Dallas, updates on construction, update on vehicle testing. We're going to go over the operating plan and upcoming fare restructuring, and then give you information on how you can stay connected and speak with the board regarding some of these issues or concerns that you may have. So again, I want to remind everyone, this meeting is being recorded, so I'm sure topics may come up. We ask everyone to stay cordial, friendly. We're trying to be good neighbors, so we expect the same. Rules of engagement. So we're going to open up the room for questions, comments, and concerns at the end of each section. So if you'll raise your hand, someone will bring a mic to you. You can ask your question at that point, and then either myself or one of the Silver Line team members will answer it. If you have a question and you don't want to speak in front of the group, just raise your hand and you can write it down, and we'll take care of that at the end of each section. So One thing I do want to note is we did do this presentation since we're covering so much information. We kind of broke it up into two. We're going to go over basically a brief overview of the project and cover construction. So once we finish with that, we'll open it up for questions regarding the project itself and construction. Following that, we'll get into testing schedule for y'all in this area, as well as the fares and the operations once we're in revenue service, and then how you can stay connected with us. And then we'll take questions after that. Sound good? All right. So before we get going, any Spanish translation needed for anyone? Okay, if someone comes in, we'll keep track of that because we have a Spanish translator available. All right, as I said, we have a group from the Solar Line project team here to help us out, to keep you informed. Trey Walker is our VP of Construction Capital Design. He couldn't be here tonight, but we do have Robert Sullivan, who was at the table, probably greeting you when you came in. I want to remind you, if you'll please register up at the front, we'll get you information and email. We'd just like to keep track of who's coming in, and then if you have concerns, how we can follow up. So for construction, we have Gordon Morales, who's our Senior Project Manager with AWH, who's our design build contractor, and Nico Cantu. They'll help out and cover the construction portion. We have Hans Michael Rutha, who's our Director of Service Planning, and David Winters, who's a project manager and helps out with scheduling as well. So they'll cover the fare restructuring, the service changes, and then the operations plan. This is, like I said, the first round of meetings. We'll be back this summer to give you another update. We were in Richardson yesterday. If you can't stick around, we invite you to come out Wednesday to Addison, or any other meetings the following week in Carrollton, out in the Coppell, Southwest Waters area, or in Plano. All right, so a little bit about the project itself. If you're not familiar with the Silver Line, or you haven't been out to a meeting, it's a 26-mile rail alignment. It runs east to west, west to east, starting in Plano, in the Tech Corridor area at the Shallow Road Station. It goes into Richardson, and then follows through into the Dallas area, Addison, Carrollton, Coppell, into Grapevine, and then finishes at DFW Airport, Terminal B. So again, 26 miles. It covers 3 different counties and has connections to our existing rail systems, light rail, with the green, orange, and red, as well as the Tex Rail service operated by our sister agency in Fort Worth, Tree Adventure. So if you were to go online, dart.org/Silverline, you can find this information. Basically what this covers is station information, gives you a little bit of information regarding each individual area, your projected time to get to the airport or to the Shallow Road Station. Just so you know, the midpoint for the project is Carrollton. It's roughly about 30 minutes to get to Plano from the downtown Carrollton station or to get to DFW Airport. There's parking available at 9 of the 10 stations. We will have limited parking at one of them, which is on the trail. We'll cover that when we get into construction. And we are looking to open up for operations for passenger revenue service here by the end of the year to early next year. So the project is in effect because one of the main things we have is tremendous growth coming into the DFW area. So we're trying to increase mobility and address system sustainability to provide connections throughout the area. The other piece is access. So obviously we talk about giving you direct access to DFW Airport. It's important to note though, you're going to have connections between all these cities as well. So you can connect from Carrollton to Addison, for example, going from Plano to Richardson without having to be in a motor vehicle. Excuse me. As I said, continued growth is coming. This is one of the major components of this project. This is DART's first project that does not focus on bringing people into downtown Dallas. It runs east-west. So with a lot of the growth coming north of 635, we anticipate this will help alleviate some of that. It also serves as an economic catalyst. Just with research that we've done, right now within a half mile of each of our stations, we're going to have access to over 200,000 jobs or economic educational opportunities. And I'm sure that will only continue to grow as we continue to focus on one of our missions, which is creating fantastic spaces and providing basically places where people can gather, not just catch a train or a bus. So along with that comes transit-oriented development, station designs and art, and that's one of the major things we want to focus on here with the Silver Line. Another bonus, if you will, and I know having done these meetings for some time now, it's a big boon for this area, is you're going to get the Cotton Belt Regional Trail. Construction on this is being done in phases. Phase 1 and 2 are being constructed along with the silver line. Phase 3 is going to be constructed later on. This is a North Central Texas Council of Governments project. It's not a DART project. We're just overseeing it because the project is occurring in our land. So phase 3 will be covered by NCT COG in each partner city, and it will move along as funding comes. So if you look at the map here, what the trail does, it'll run adjacent to the Silver Line rail. It'll basically provide you a walkway or a pathway or a jogging, biking, whatever you want to call it, to get from Plano all the way to DFW Airport, and it'll eventually connect to existing trails all the way to Fort Worth. So by the time it's complete, you'll be able to cover that full 26 miles. And you'll see that the 57-mile total includes the existing trails that it would connect to. For this area in particular, we're talking about, again, phase 1 and phase 2. For the primary purposes, phase 1 is complete because those are all the major functional pieces that we needed to do before active rail was in the corridor. For phase 2, we're looking to get started on that this summer, and it's gonna, what that'll do is provide the connection, as you see on the map here, all the way from Plano into Madison. So the trail itself is about 12 feet wide. We do have variances where it'll narrow at some points in some residential areas. And then with the pedestrian bridges, they're 16 feet wide. And the goal here is, again, to provide enough space for you to be able to walk, jog, push a stroller, be on a bike, tricycle, you name it, that kind of thing. So think of the Katy Trail in that sense, just to hear a little bit more. So again, with this project and these trains, we gotta have a place to house them. That's where the Silver Line Equipment Maintenance Facility comes in. It's located in the city of Plano in the tech corridor. We broke ground on construction in October of last year, and we're expecting to open this fall. This site is basically, we have an existing building that we purchased that's going to serve as our operations headquarters, and then we're building behind it in our right-of-way land there in the rail area. And we're going to have 2 new buildings. That's what we're going to be, where we wash them, where we maintain them, we provide fuel, and then there's an underground fuel tank as well. This is a really big bonus for us because with having direct access to the rail, you don't have that wait in case service issues come up or maintenance needs to be done quickly. So as of January of this year, some milestones that we can touch on here within the city of Dallas. We began testing with 4 Silver Line vehicles going. We're going to add more in March of this year. We'll get to that in a little bit. The stations closest to you, we include the UT Dallas station. I know it's in the city of Richardson, but it is your closest station technically. It's about 90% complete. Again, we'll touch on that regarding construction. The Mill Trail station, which is headed towards the Dallas North Tollway, is about 80% complete. And then the Cypress Water Station, which is out in the Cypress Waters development near the Coppell city limits, but it is technically the city of Dallas, it's about 80% complete as well. So 85% of the rail crossings are complete or in the process of being completed within the city of Dallas. The rail crossing is basically what you're going through with the arms, the signals, and the lights. 90% of the guideway bridges, which are the rail bridges, are complete or completed throughout the city. 100% of the pedestrian bridges are complete. They're not open yet because some of those include, we need to do some punch list items that we have to walk through with the city. And again, we'll cover some of that. You'll see the progress on some of those bridges here in the city of Dallas. And then, of course, noise and betterment walls, which are in those highly residential areas. I know some of you have some of those near you here. We're about 95% done with those. There's a handful that we're still working on and getting those up. And then to date, we've laid in over 245,000 linear feet of new track. This is actually kind of a misnomer because a lot of the alignment is double tracked, which means there's 2 sets of tracks going in both directions. So we technically put in more track than this. It's just a good baseline number to show.
What percent?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can get that for you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Gordon. I'm going to go over construction. And as I said, folks, I know you see Richardson here, but again, the UT Dallas station is the closest station to you, and sometimes we get questions about it, so we like to include it.
Good evening. UT Dallas Station, the station proper itself has all been done. We still got a lot of work we're doing over the parking lot, the sidewalks, we still got irrigation, we got the light poles to go up. We've made some progress in the parking lot too. Most of the ties are out of there at this point, so this is progressing nice. Just some of the artwork at UTD Dallas Station.
Kuwait update. We are making pretty good progress out there. We had all the pavement north of the bridge is complete as of a couple weeks ago. We made a big pour today on the southern pavement north of Sugarcane. So that's about 75% complete. And then we're also pouring the bridge deck tonight as well. So good progress. Got a lot of work to do on Sugarcane itself, but we're working to get that traffic switched onto the new pavement here in the next couple months, and then finish out Kuwait this summer. So this is just a picture showing, there were some comments a couple months ago that protected left arrow at Osage. So this was added. Turn left.
Meandering Way, we're close to wrapping that up. We still got sidewalks before, there's still some systems components that need to go on there, but it's close to being wrapped up now at this point. Hillcrest opened up one lane in each direction today. The easterly pedestrian walkway, the one you can see on the top, is now opened up for the general public as well. There's just pictures from down below, so you can see the two inside lanes are the ones that are open there now, one in each direction. Just another view from there. This is the west side sidewalk, but it's kind of mirrored. This sidewalk's going to look the same as both sides there, so they're up there. You can see down the center there where the lanes are opened up. Everything's been cleaned up. It looks good down there. So, like I said, traffic's flowing through there now at this point. Preston Green Park pedestrian bridge. The bridge itself is completed. We punched that out now. We're going through that process, just getting final signatures on that. The walkway itself, there's a section just past Hillcrest. It's like 50 feet, 80 feet, something like that. That I still got to finish up for 100% complete. There are crews in there currently working on that right now too to get that wrapped up as well. And then Davenport, kind of the same with all the other sidewalks. Still got to finish some sidewalks in here and some of the system stuff. The reason we typically leave a sidewalk out is because the track's coming through and they need to get in and out. And if we were to pour it ahead of time, those would all just get destroyed anyway. So we typically wait for track to finish up their activities and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the crossings with the systems and the sidewalks. Davenport West. We do got the candlesticks up. We did go ahead and just paint the ends of the curves there to make them more visible. I know that was a concern for some folks, so we went ahead and went out there and did that. Same with Davenport West Road. It's kind of in the same condition as the other ones too. Still some systems components to finish up some of the sidewalks, and then we'll be done. The track is across all of these in Dallas now at this point. White Rock Creek pedestrian bridge, this is 100% complete too. Again, we're still just doing punch list items. I think we got those wrapped up, getting final signatures, inspections, and make sure everybody's happy with the product out there. North Trail Station, the station itself is 100% complete at this point. We are working on the kiss and ride in the parking lot itself, so you'll see some construction activities there as well. And then we have some sidewalks that need to come off of Knoll Trail and head to the station platform as soon as track construction is 100% complete. This is just another view of Knoll Trail Station. As you can see, it's all wrapped up. We still have some landscaping to do and kind of just some light stuff around the perimeters to finish up. Dallas North Tollway. Again, some system stuff that we need to finish up here. The Ped Bridge is 100% complete at this point as well, same as the other ones. station is another one. I think we're probably around 95% completed the station platform itself. We're still got some more work to do out there. We still got a few sidewalks. We got the light poles. We got striping, landscaping, and just general cleanup and get that thing wrapped up as well. It's just pictures from the Cypress water station. So there's still some of the cameras and speakers and things like that. We still need to mount the poles, finish up, but the heavy lifting's done for the most part.
Yeah, so I know Ms. Middleton brought up some questions. We know we have some questions here that we anticipated coming up. So we're going to tackle Ms. Middleton's questions, then we'll go to these, and then we'll open it up to questions afterwards.
Okay, a couple questions asked. Traffic signals at Hillcrest, at McCamey, and Cullum. Right now they are operating in red flash. That was a discussion we had with the city of Dallas. Especially at Hillcrest, we talked about keeping that red flash until some more of the major work completes, just to keep our guys protected. People, I mean, we've only had it open for a few hours and you can see them flying through it. So just some protection for our team is mostly why we're doing that. At McCamey, direction from Dallas was to see how it operates over the first couple of weeks that it be open traffic. So there is the temporary signal out there is fully functional. So if Dallas decides to operate that in red and green, then we can do that. Question about illumination in the median. We had some delays from the manufacturer from those coming in. So we did put up some temporary ones in the interim. No concerns with any kind of rust or anything that was mentioned. But those are supposed to come in here in the next couple of weeks. But once we get traffic moved into the outside lanes of Hillcrest, that's when we'll get those installed. Coit schedule, I touched on that earlier, but like I said, middle of March, end of March, early April is when we're going to move traffic onto the new Sugarcane to enter and exit that neighborhood, and then we're looking like we'll have June, July time frame when we get everyone onto the right side of the road and fully operational along Coit.
Yeah, the last one was graffiti at Wester Way. I've already let the superintendent know that. He's going to go out there and take care of that right away. So it'll be cleaned up. And we'll take care of that in the future as well. Once we were notified of that, we'll send a crew out there to take care of it. So.
But I think Kara's question was, sorry, I'll wait.
Yeah, and in regard to the graffiti, so as Morgan said, we talked about this yesterday. So I'll share the information again. There's a number that you can contact. That number was never contacted, so AWH was never notified. They contacted us initially, so we passed it on to basically Gordon and Nico, but as their focus is on construction, it was never reported to the people that need to handle it. So all that to say is, it took a while for us to track it down. That's why we share information with y'all, because when we're sharing information, it's easiest if you go directly to the source so that we can tackle it as quickly as possible. And again, we'll share that information as we have repeatedly throughout the meetings. So let me go through these questions, and I'll open it up to the audience. So I've already been asked this question a couple times because we have our community relations team and myself out at Hillcrest today doing a safety pop-up. We talked to several residents that were out walking, biking, and some that pulled over and wanted to know what was going on. So we told them, Hillcrest obviously opened with 2 lanes this afternoon, and so when's it going to be open with multiple lanes and ready to go? We're looking at early June for that. So as you saw in some of the photos, and as Gordon alluded to, some of the sidewalk work is still being waited on because we're still pulling track. So we are doing a lot more track activity right now in this area, and we anticipate all of that being done by late March, because we're going to start testing here end of March, early April. And again, I'll go into some of the testing stuff in the second part of the presentation. And then lastly, as Nico said, we're going to change traffic, but when will the work on Coy Road be completed and open all the way through? We're probably looking at late August, depending on weather and whatnot, maybe a little bit earlier, but that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, I'm sure questions, so.
So on the bridges across this hill crest, there is a gap in the sound wall that I was wondering if that gap is there for construction, or if that gap will be closed, or if that is that permanent?
No, there's currently a gap because we had pedestrian traffic up there, so now that we've moved it to its permanent location, we're cleaning up the temporary asphalt that we had in there for pedestrian traffic. Once that it's cleaned up back there. Once that's cleaned up back there, then we'll set the last panels and finish it.
Quick question. I believe Kara was wanting to know what the process is to contact somebody if we do see graffiti. Do we have a process in place? Because normally we contact 311, but that gets City of Dallas employees involved. So what is the process for you guys?
Right, so here, I'll go ahead and forward to that in the presentation since it's come up. Okay, so again, we'll cover this again if needed, but if you need any information or you want us to come out and talk at all, just email silverline@dart.org. And regarding cleanup or vandalism, we've shared the construction hotline at every meeting, the 972-833-2856. So if something comes up regarding cleanup, vandalism, etc., you can contact that number, and we ask that you please contact that number. You can also reach out to Robert, who's your direct community contact. Again, Robert's in the back, and that's his email address, rsullivan@dart.org. He's the person that contacts the people with boots on the ground directly. So you can reach out to us. Just know that if you reach out to us, it's going to take a little bit longer to get the issue dealt with. So we recommend you contact this number, and this is the process until we're done with construction. Once we're done with construction and DART has taken over the project, we'll share different information, a different number that you can call to report anything that comes up, just like this. All right, and since I'm already here, I'll just tackle these last couple things. We know a lot of you have gates that open up into DART property. We've had instances when people come out and try to get into the area, especially the creek beds. We ask that you please don't come out there. It's technically trespassing, and it is a construction site. And when it's not a construction site, it's going to be an active rail site. So again, just for your safety, we ask that you please not come out there. And then we have done a lot of cleanup in the area, just with, I think people move in and just kind of tend to throw stuff over the fence or stuff like that. We ask that you please not do that. Again, we end up tackling it and taking care of it as long as we're notified. Again, that same hotline number, 972-833-2856, you contact that, we'll take care of it. But again, as long as we're all aware of what's going on, then those are things that we can avoid. All right, let me go back to construction.
You go, Sarah.
Yeah, so still just following up on some of the earlier items. So those of us at the meeting may know that there is a DART Silverline hotline, but for the community as a whole, right, 311 is known. For people who don't come to this meeting, how do you expect them to know how to properly notify you? I think that's a lot of where that process question is coming from, is you need something that's effective for the community as a whole.
Duly noted, we can share more information via social media. It's on our website as well. And need to set something up with the City of Dallas since they're used to getting that, then we can do that. But again, to my knowledge, I don't think the City of Dallas refers those back to us. It just kind of, they tell them to contact us.
Okay, Christine says they do, the city.
Okay, so like I said, I didn't know, so.
Okay, and then on the traffic signals, was a little confused by that because you only addressed McCamey, not the one also at McCallum, and then said it's capable of being turned on to be functional, but it's if the city decides. But for all construction zones, doesn't DART submit traffic management plans to the city and then the city can then approve? It's like you're asking the city to step in and take over your job on that?
No, it's not like that. It's Dallas controls how the signals function. We just install the infrastructure and we maintain that infrastructure. It is dictated to us how Dallas wants to operate that. Now, we do have input in that.
And then the through movement. So at this point, I need to talk to, we need to coordinate with AWH to see what their plan is. And then certainly, and Nico was correct, is that we need to make sure that the safety of the traveling public as well as the workers is important. So if they're starting to see some speeding that is happening in that area, and I was watching it on the TV monitors at the office, and I'm seeing some vehicles that were gunning it through that. So I was watching it. I am, at this point, very reluctant to operate the signal, especially both at McCamey. We need them to stop and not keep it a free flow at this point. However, he correctly mentioned that we're going to evaluate it for 2 weeks and see what it does. And if we're seeing good compliance with the advisory speed in that area, then we'll go ahead and operate it. And then the other thing also on that one is my understanding, and Nico, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're within 2 weeks of getting the new power to the new signal. So what we may have to do is just, if they're ready to go in 2 weeks, just go ahead and switch to the brand new signal and operate it as such. So we've got a few things. That's why bear with us for a couple of weeks and let us see where we are, and we'll go from there.
And that's correct, yeah. McCamey is pretty much ready to go. We're waiting for Encore to provide power to that traffic signal. So as soon as they're able to do that, which is, I wish I could pin them down on a date, but it just doesn't work like that with them. So as soon as we can do that, we will get that switched over to the permanent. And then as far as what Gus was saying, we appreciate, especially at McCollum, keeping it in red flash, because there's still quite a bit of work in those medians that we have to restore. We had to put a lot of asphalt in the medians so that we can move traffic around back and forth, and so we're going to be in there over the next couple months restoring all that as well.
I've got a question. We've got a lot of your trucks from Archer, Western Herzog, coming up and down our streets, and they've destroyed our streets, bringing those heavy concrete ties that go underneath the railroad tracks, and they've just destroyed our streets. So who do we contact about that? Is that Archer Western that's going to take care of that? DART? Is that Public Works, the man that just spoke? Who do we talk to about getting our streets fixed when these 18-wheelers run up and down the street 20, 30, 40 times a day, 6 days a week, and destroyed our streets and just left them that way?
Do you mind if I ask what street you live off of? Or?
Bannister Street.
Bannister?
Bannister. Off of McCallum. They come off of McCallum, they run down Bannister, they drop off the concrete ties back behind Ronnie Drive. They've taken over the easement back there. They put 5 or 6 inches of gravel, and they're stacking thousands of these ties, and then they run back out, going down Frank Jackson, destroying Frank Jackson. They've also messed up Ronnie Drive. They've also messed up Newt. These streets were repaved by the city of Dallas within the past 1, 2, 3 years, some of which are in perfect condition. Now, for example, Bannister is the worst by far. It looks like a war zone. It looks like there have been bombs dropped out there. You can't drive down the street without damaging your vehicle. It doesn't even matter if you drive a pickup truck. It's such severe damage. So it's disappointing that it happened, but it's more disappointing that no one would actually look at this and say, you know what, this is unacceptable. Let's at least do repairs, if not a resurfacing. But I'm here to make sure that you know about it, and I want to know what we need to do to get it taken care of.
I will say that we're not done with our work, so we haven't evaluated any of those areas. That is an area that we've just recently started using in the past less than 2 months, I'm guessing. But obviously we'll look into that. But like I said, we're still in construction, so.
Yeah, we've also had problems with the drivers driving up into our property with their 18-wheelers, damaging the property, and then refusing to give us their insurance cards to then get the property fixed, which I've addressed that with Mario tonight, and I've addressed that also with another one that represents for AWH, Daryl, who's sitting up there in the front with you. So hopefully we'll get some traction on that. But the street issue that I'm talking to you about is a major issue, and it needs to be addressed.
Understood. And like Mario had mentioned earlier, there is a hotline, right? So I know trying to go up to construction workers and truckers and stuff like that probably isn't going to end very well. I'm sure not everyone's gonna be happy, right? So
I
the big
appreciate-
thing was trying to call the hotline so that we can get your issues addressed.
I appreciate what you just said, but the lady brought up a good point before. I, as a property owner and the general public, have no idea who to call. Do we call 311? Do we call Public Works? Who do we know? We don't know. I know just because I happened to come here today because I saw a little tent set up over in front of the police station today. Had I not seen that tent, you talked about putting something on your social media, which is great. That's better than nothing. But the general public doesn't know where to go. They don't know that they need to go find or seek out DART's website or social media. With the budget you guys have, with the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, just a quick suggestion would be, it's not too expensive to send out a direct mail piece to every property owner within a certain amount of half mile, quarter mile, whatever it might be, to just let people know this is what the progress is and here's what you need to do if you have any questions.
I know mailers go out quite a bit, but I'll let you address if you want.
Yeah, again, so, we always like constructive feedback and we always try to do a better job. So we do send out mailers rarely regarding, major project information that comes out. I know we're going to send something out here as I'm going to cover the testing portion, so we can include that information as well. So again, we'll do what we can to make sure the public is aware of how to contact us so we can get some of those issues resolved. We do have processes in place, and if y'all aren't aware of them, then that's something we need to do better. Thank you.
We have cards that our crew's supposed to carry out there with them, so that if somebody from the general public comes up, asks a question or whatever, we're supposed to hand those cards. So we'll talk about that in the form of superintendent's meetings, make sure all of our crews out there have that information to hand to you folks. You know what I mean? If somebody has a question and who to contact, make sure that you guys get that information out there as well.
This question may be a little premature, and I'm not sure if it goes to AWH or to Gus, but the detour signage that's at the intersection of Hillcrest and Campbell, since Hillcrest is open now, when will that be removed or straightened out so that people know? Is that okay? Thanks, guys. I'll ask them, guys.
So because we opened the roadway today, we will, over the next few days, we'll get that removed.
I would suggest you don't get that removed. And the reason is that if you're going north on Hillcrest, you're narrowing it down to one lane. You've got 3 lanes if people think it's open. It's going down to 1 lane so fast. I suggest you keep it open, keep it, the construction signs there. And back to another question, as far as damage to streets, Hillcrest has been totally damaged right near Campbell going south. And I was told it's a city of Dallas's problem.
So on the idea of damage, is there any process, policy you will have internally that if workers damage something, do they log that, report that to you?
They should, yes ma'am.
Can you tell us anything about that?
I mean, just kind of like what you said, if there's ever an accident or someone runs into something, they immediately need to contact their supervisor, and then it kind of runs up the chain, right? I wish we could control everyone to do it every single time. We try to manage that as best as possible, but we do encourage everyone to do that.
And same as if you guys see something, you get a license plate or something like that, let us know that. We do have safety professionals out there. Once that does get reported, they'll do an immediate investigation. We'll pull that crew in. We have a panel. We'll sit down and talk with those crews and see if there's corrective actions that need to happen or what needs to happen. But we address every single one of those as soon as I know. It's hard when somebody says it was a AWS trick ran through. It's hard for me to narrow that person down. I can't find out. But if you do have information and somebody's doing something wrong out there, let us know, and there are corrective actions and processes in place.
Any other questions?
Okay. Carrie's question about.
Here, I'm coming to you, sir.
Just Carrie's question about.
They can't hear you in the back.
Kara's questions about the street light.
I addressed it earlier. We had some delays from the manufacturer, so we put up some temporary lights in the interim. Are we talking about the ones in the center, or just what Kara had mentioned? Yeah, so those are in the median. And delays from the manufacturer, right? So we did install temporary lights in the interim. Those are supposed to come in the next few weeks, but we cannot install them until traffic gets moved onto the outside lanes. Right now they're in the inside lanes. And so there's only a 5-foot gap there that we don't have enough room to install those.
And what else we did on those two, we inspected every single one of those. I know some surface rust on there, they're not the most attractive lights that are out there, but what we did is we took the new heads, they're going on the new lights, and we put those on there, so we made sure you guys had adequate illumination out there, which is going to be kind of standard, what you see when the poles get replaced, and there's new wiring in those as well too. So that's the amount of illumination you're going to see out there. But like I said, we did inspect every single pole before we put them on and make sure they were safe.
And to Gordon's point, we did add additional plates before we attached them to the foundation, so they will hold up. There's no concern.
All right. Good. All right, we'll cover testing, operations plan, and some other information. So, as I mentioned, we've got a lot of active rail activity coming in with installation. Part of that is because we're getting prepared to test. So, this is a testing map that we have in place. So, one thing to note is while we're doing testing, quiet zones are in place. What a quiet zone is once we're in operational service, that means horns won't sound unless there's something on the track or something near the track that could impede the train coming by. So once we're in operation, you really won't hear the horn unless there's something on or near the track. So while we're testing Labor, you'll hear the horn regularly just because we're doing lots of testing coming through there. And that regards not just the trains themselves, but we're testing the signals, the crossing arms, the lights, timing, etc. So we want to make sure that we're doubly safe as we're doing that. Because in some instances, arms may stay down longer than they need to, some may come up, some lights may not flash as much as they need to, so all those things we're going to work through as we get through. So, segment C, which covers the Plano Richardson area, we started out there in October. We pretty much wrapped up testing, but we are still running on Sundays to make sure that our engineers are getting ample time behind the wheel, if you will, learning how to drive these trains. A1, which is DFW Airport to DFW North, there in the city of Grapevine. We just wrapped up with that testing here in early January. And A2 basically connects DFW North through the Cypress Water Station, going to I-35 in Carrollton. And we, in the process of testing there, we just did some train testing. We'll probably do a little bit more here before the end of the month. And that basically consists of, like I said, trains going back and forth, testing all the components of the track and the track itself to make sure it operates as it should. A3, we're going to tackle here sometime this month as we finish up laying down track inside downtown Carrollton. And the reason that's important is because it's going to lead us into section B, which involves your area, and that's Addison, the Mill Trail Station, and then connecting to UTD. So the reason we left the middle and we are coming back into it is because of all the work that we had to do along Hillcrest and Coy. So as I said, we're doing a lot of track installation right now, so once that's complete, we'll come in and test there. So we're looking to do that late March, early April, and then once we're able to segment test each section sometime in the second quarter of this year, we'll do end-to-end testing, which basically involves having simulated service from DFW Airport to the Charlotte Road Station, making a stop at each station. So it'd be just like the trains in operation, it just wouldn't pick up passengers. So again, we started this in October, simulated service, station to station, no passenger pickup or drop off. We're testing everything. If there's an instance where we need flaggers, flaggers will be present to inform drivers and pedestrians that we're in the area and trains are coming. Again, I need to stress there's a no quiet zone observance, so come here later this spring, you're going to be hearing some horns as we come through the area. And then testing in Dallas, as I said, is going to look April, and it should occur during the day. We're looking at probably 8 to 5. That's what we typically do in our other test areas. So the vehicles themselves, I'll get your question at the end of this section, sir. The vehicles themselves, these are actual trains, so locomotives. They're not like our light rail system that has an overhead cam area that connects to a wire that's powered that way. So these are heavy duty, diesel powered. They meet strict EPA standards, so they're pretty low emissions. They're seating for 230 passengers. We have overhead storage, as you can see in the photo, to the left, I think for you. Bike hooks, and then a large luggage compartment, and a large bike area. There's also CCTV monitors inside the train and outside. That'll be monitored by DART PD, so in case anything's going on, they'll be aware of it and can report it back to the engineer. One thing of note on these trains as well, since they are heavy duty, each train will feature a conductor. If you've taken Texrail out of Graywater Fort Worth, as I mentioned before, through Trinity Metro, they have one as well. So you'll have someone that's driving the train and then someone that's walking up and down through the compartments the entire time. That's something that's required by the Federal Railroad Administration. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Hans Michael, and he'll cover the opening operating plan as well as some adjustments we've made to our bus scheduling and our GoLink systems.
Thank you. Is that okay? Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you. My name is Hans Michael. I work in service planning, and the draft schedule that we're planning on right now will be about 4 a.m. to 1 a.m. with 30-minute service in the peaks, 60-minute service in the off-peaks, in all 10 stations. There will be an ability to adjust the train schedule for special event service, of course, in agreement with city staff. I think we go to the next slide. Oh, this is a public hearing slide for the Silver Line schedule and the service. State law requires that we host a public hearing at the DART board meeting, and that will occur in March on the 25th. That'll be during the course of the regular DART board meeting. There's material at the front that Robert has you can use to leave a comment, or you can do so online or by voicemail or by showing up at the meeting and submitting your comment vocally there as well. So that's coming up. In addition to the actual train service, with no new resources available, but with some ability to adjust or modify bus and on-demand service, we are trying to complement the implementation of the Silver Line as best we can. And you'll see that in the following slides. The slides geographically move from the east to the west. There's not modifications at every station, but for the ones we have, we can start with Shiloh Road. We're adding this location to our GoLink service. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with this. It's on-demand service that you can book on the phone or using your GoPass app according to your need. The trips are delivered either by a dedicated DART-branded vehicle operated by a third-party contractor, or by a transportation network company that we contract out to supplement our dedicated vehicle and keep the wait times down around 12 minutes. Right now that company is Uber. Either way, when you book the trip, it'll be communicated to you what to expect to come pick you up. And you can go anywhere in that zone, either the East Plano zone or the East Telecom zone. They both stretch about, I think, 6 square miles in either direction. And that information is available on our website. You go to the next slide. Excuse me. 12th Street Station in Plano. This is near to the downtown Plano area, for those of you who may not be familiar. We'll also be adding this to GoLink, but that's on the next slide. We are going to reroute the bus routes that are nearby to this station to come down and serve it at the platform and then go back around to the regular routes. So that's 236 and 247. Those are 2 active bus routes today in the area. Next slide. We'll also be adding the station location to connect to these GoLink zones, which are geographically defined zones that serve the on-demand trips that I mentioned, and they're located on either side of 12th Street, East Plano Zone, which is the one we also talked about a second ago, and also the South Central Plano Zone. Okay, next slide. And then if you keep on moving west, you get to UT Dallas Station in Richardson. We already have a bus route. Actually, we have two bus routes. One's operated as a UTD student shuttle, the 883, that serves in Synergy Park. But DART has a route that it operates right on, Waterview, thank you. It operates in Waterview right now. When that station opens, when it's completed, it will dip down into the station drive-in loop so that it can serve the platform. Next slide, please. And then Knoll Trail Station, which is the station, one station west of UTD, that'll be served on Knoll Trail by Route 236, which has actually already been diverted. We diverted that early in January due to some other things. And so that's already going up and down Knoll Trail, and so there will be some bus stops there that the bus service can pull up and serve the customers getting on or off the Silver Line. Okay, we're skipping over Addison, going to downtown Carrollton Station. This station is actually going to be a really cool multimodal hub in the future with the addition of the Silver Line. Right now it's already served by GoLink, bus, and light rail, but the Silver Line will give it another mode and another direction of service that'll benefit all the customers there. And there's new apartments being built there, and the area is really turned out nice. So we're going to add service to Kelly Brook's GoLink Zone, which cruises, it kind of goes up into South Carolina. Yeah. And then also the Farmers Branch GoLink Zone, which is one of our busiest zones. It covers Farmers Branch, a little bit of Dallas, kind of an east-west zone. Okay, we skipped over, I guess they took that slide out, but we skipped over Addison Transit Center. That'll be Addison Station. It's got a lot of service, a lot of bus service, it's got to have Silver Line. It's also got GoLink, the Killer Spring Zone. So we're not changing anything there. We're just continuing to do what we have been doing. And then Cypress Waters in Dallas, that station is going to be served, as it currently is, by our most popular GoLink zone, the Cypress Waters GoLink zone. And then the fare restructure is coming up also. We're currently undergoing a public hearing, or community meetings in support of a public hearing that's coming. The new fare structure has been, I'm a couple months late there. The fare structure has been adopted, and it goes into effect March 1st. So this will be the fare structure that is over the operation of the new Silver Line. I can get into detail about that if y'all like. Okay.
We'll tackle that. I just got a couple slides.
Yeah, well, you said 1 a.m. and your slide said 12:30 p.m., which is correct. Hours of operation.
Yes, sir.
You said 12:30 there, and you said 1 a.m.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I think 12:30 is the more.
You said 1, I thought. Maybe I missed
It's a linear corridor, so it's going to vary as you go along the corridor. Approximately 12:30.
Yeah, and the times are approximate. One thing we can say, and I know Hans Michael didn't get to it, but as we get closer to opening up for passenger revenue service, we'll release the actual schedule, probably about 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time. So then you're aware of what the actual times will be of when the trains will be coming and going. So sorry for that confusion. As we said, some of our communication and outreach, our job is to keep you guys informed. We appreciate the feedback. If there's things we can do better, we'll definitely strive to do that. If we need to communicate with the city of Dallas to get more information out, we'll do that as well. We generally talk to all the city PIOs along the corridor, keep them involved. I've said it before, I highly recommend you visit our website at silverline.org or dart.org/silverline. We do weekly updates for your area regarding construction and traffic that may come up. Those are typically posted on Friday afternoon to Friday evening for the upcoming week. We definitely cover safety and are happy to come out to talk to any civic group, neighborhood, HOA, schools. We visited several in the corridor. And overall, once we get closer to operating revenue service, our goal is to work with each city and have a communication plan that will share that, so you're aware of how we're going to operate, when we're going to operate, and then how you can route the silver line. So as I said, we stress safety. Robert and myself, we're out there today at Hillcrest Road. A lot of what Gus mentioned, there were some cars coming through, and I think definitely monitoring that situation. But our goal is to stress safety in everything that we do. So that stresses whether it's talking to community groups, definitely schools and students. Some of the information you see here is just handouts that we have that we share both in print and digitally, English and Spanish. And then the big image is a video that you see for Operation Lifesaver. Several members of our community relations team are certified in this, and they'll come out and do training through this program to inform both students and adults of rail safety and construction safety overall. And again, I know I covered this earlier, but let me hit it again. If there's anything you need, if you want a presentation, you want us to come out and talk to your group, you can email us directly at silverline@dart.org. Again, the construction hotline, 972-833-2856. Robert's at the table if you want to come by and say hello to him. He's typically out in this area regularly, covering events, so you can talk to him, whether it's something Silverline related or DART related. He should be able to cover that for you. And then we've covered the trespassing and trash. All right, I've covered all this. Any questions for testing, operations? Yes, sir.
When you're fully operational, what's the top speed of the trains?
The top speed that the train can actually operate is 79 miles an hour. We do have an imposed speed limit in North Dallas. 40, is it 45 or 35? It's something, I don't remember what it is right now. But the design speed for the rail is 79 miles an hour. We're never going to be going that fast unless we're maybe over 75, over the Elm Fork of the Trinity River, we may get that fast. But in general, in the highly populated areas, our average speed across there is going to be 35 miles.
Okay, so during the testing phase, with the signals being tested on the roads and everything else, what's the plan for ramping up or to that speed, or what's the plan thinking of that?
So I think when we're testing, we're primarily checking braking, so coming to a stop, especially on hills, and then also the timing mechanisms. So as we're going through crossings, you don't want the arms to be down too long, and you definitely don't want the arms to be bent down too short, so we're checking on that. Again, we're operating 70-minute service, so we're going, as John said, we're going to hit our optimal speed limits, and I think the longest stretch is between Cypress Waters and downtown Carrollton, so that's probably where we hit a lot of our top speed, if you will, because so many of the stations are so close together.
It's a 26-mile corridor, and it's going to take about an hour to get from one end to the other. That averages out to 35, 45 miles an hour. But it's going to vary. You're slowing down as you're coming into stations and speeding, and you're accelerating out of stations. Crossings are a little slower than that. So there is going to be signs posted for the operators about what speeds they have, and they're going to be expected to meet the schedule that gets posted ultimately.
What's your projected date for passenger service?
We're looking to open by the end of this year or early next year.
Any other questions? Come to you, sir.
Clarification on your schedule about 30 minutes both directions. Does that mean if you're in UTD and want to go to the airport, you'll have a train you can do once an hour between 4 and 12?
Wait, there's traffic behind us trying to make a 90-degree turn. I brought this up already just to say that's my concern is for the northbound traffic that's going to be such a tight angle. And then
And I will say, just it is a it will be a signalized intersection when we move into that permanent location. So, and that will help. But yes, you're correct.
yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about how narrow it is to have two-way traffic on Sugarcane there. And that if you're going northbound, right, you can turn right when the light's green. So that doesn't mean traffic's all going to be stopped behind you.
Right, and so we're going to adjust. So right now we have concrete barrier that's blocking and protecting our workers, right? So we're going to pull that barrier when that opens, and so we'll make sure to pull enough barrier to allow people to help make that right turn. And if we need to put some asphalt in the median temporarily until we go and build that median, we'll do that as well.
And then maybe this won't be as much of an issue going forward, but especially since we have you here tonight, you know, just wanted to mention again, there are things about your traffic management plans that you have never actually implemented. I mean, if you're coming southbound on Coit, there's a detour sign where you can't turn into Sugarcane, and there have never been detour signs that actually direct you how to get into our neighborhood. You keep going south on Coit, there's a sign that says end road work. You know, I mean, it literally was our neighborhood crowdsourcing to try to update Google Maps to help people figure out how to get in, because you will never actually put the signage to show them the intended detour. And I'm bringing this up here publicly to say, yes, this is the one question I've had so far. I'm sure once we actually get to that point, we're looking at traffic switches, we're gonna have other questions, we're gonna have other concerns. And I feel like there's we have these public meetings, I'm sure we've gotten community feedback. But like the no U-turns, our feedback that we gave about we need no U-turn signs because this isn't safe was for that where Sugarcane actually would cross, because it's too narrow. People have tried and they can't, no car can make that turn radius. I mean, maybe some tiny little smart car that no one drives in Dallas.
Right.
But then further down, when you're coming towards McCallum and you've opened it up for that shopping area, there's a no U-turn sign there. We never asked for that. The road is plenty wide. There's actually better visibility to see oncoming traffic than when you get to the light at McCallum. So I'm just trying to highlight these things to say, I don't know if a meeting is going to time well with that. We really would, the people who live right here, who are forced to drive this road, like, we don't have an option. We can't avoid construction. We would really like to be able to give feedback. I just want to make sure that we do, and it's not an assumption that we did, or something I say tonight is taken as what we would want about a scenario we haven't seen yet.
Understood.
The second person who's going to be on the train, who will be walking through the cars, will that be an actual security person?
No, ma'am, it'll be a conductor. So it's basically a rail personnel. So we'll have safety measures on there, and you know, we talked about safety and security before, but I can address that. So DART has really made a big conscious effort to ramp that up. You know, since COVID, we've ramped up our numbers to try to get fully staffed with DART PD. We have a contract that we've extended twice already with additional security and fare enforcement. So we're already working with DART PD and the corresponding cities with DART PD to monitor activity on the train and at the platforms, and then with the partner cities, the areas in general. So we are looking at having a police presence. Just like you do right now, if you ride the light rail, you'll have DART PD or fare enforcement on there. We're going to look to do the same thing on the Silver Line along with the conductor.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Are you sure?
All right, no other questions.
Thank you.
I do want to mention one more thing in regarding to the process to report stuff. So I know Ms. Mendelson said, you know, we'll typically get to stuff really quickly. We will. One thing I do want to know in talking to the foreman that handles that stuff for AWH. So since we're doing so much work in that area, we can't get vehicles in there. So a lot of that will have to be done by so it might take a little bit longer. So like he said, that was reported to them directly yesterday. We should have it taken care of by next week. I just want to let you know that some of this area is really tight, so we can't get vehicles that we normally can elsewhere in these areas. So we just ask for patience. There's no more questions, but thank you guys for coming out tonight.